1. Madagascar is currently facing the worst locust disaster in over 60 years. Millions of locusts have descended from the sky, destroying crops and pushing millions of people to the brink of poverty and hunger. So, what exactly happened? How can such a tiny insect trigger a nationwide crisis? In this video, we'll explore why this locust outbreak has become so severe, the real consequences it's causing, and how the people of Madagascar are fighting back against this catastrophe. Madagascar, the large island off the southeastern coast of Africa, is currently grappling with an unprecedented locust crisis, the worst since the 1950s. According to reports from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, around 50% of the country's agricultural land has been ravaged by locusts, causing severe damage to staple crops like rice and corn. This outbreak is believed to be driven by favorable weather conditions for locust breeding and growth, including heavy rains and warm temperatures. Additionally, shortcomings in control and prevention efforts have made the situation even more critical. The locust plague has caused massive damage to agriculture, the primary source of livelihood for the majority of Madagascar's population. About 60% of the people depend on farming to survive, and the locusts have wiped out up to 25% of the country's food production, especially rice, the staple food for many. With crop failures and food shortages, over 13 million people, roughly 60% of the population, now face the risk of severe food insecurity. The FAO warns that without immediate action, this food crisis could escalate in the coming months. The government of Madagascar, with support from the FAO and other international organizations, has launched large-scale pesticide spraying campaigns to try to contain the locust spread. However, the use of pesticides has raised concerns about negative impacts on both the environment and human health. In some regions, local communities have turned to manual methods to hunt and kill the locusts, using nets, traps, and simple tools. Although this approach cannot solve the problem on a large scale, it helps reduce locust numbers to some extent and provides a short-term food source for families. To help contain the disaster, the FAO has called on the international community to provide financial aid to support Madagascar in its fight against the locust crisis. Approximately $41.5 million has been mobilized to fund control efforts and support agricultural recovery. In addition, many countries and global organizations have pledged their support, including the World Bank, the European Union, the United States, France, Italy, Norway, and Austria. Looking ahead, developing and deploying early warning systems will help Madagascar, and other nations in the region, detect and respond swiftly to future locust outbreaks. Moreover, the government needs to invest more in research and development of sustainable control methods, including biological and biotechnological approaches, to minimize environmental harm. While the locust invasion is having devastating consequences for Madagascar, threatening food security and the livelihoods of millions, there is hope. With international support and effective control strategies, this nation may soon overcome the crisis. Eels have long been the most popular food source in Asian regions, so eel farming has also developed strongly, helping farmers gain great economic benefits. In addition to traditional eel farming models such as natural farming or modern models in artificial environments, in Southeast Asia, farmers are developing semi-artificial eel farming. There is a combination of traditional and modern methods to produce large quantities of farmed eels. Today, let's explore with us how unique semi-artificial eel farms are. Unique, explore semi-artificial eel farming model. Semi-artificial eel farming is very popular in rural areas of Southeast Asia, because these areas have large fields and natural river systems. Farmers mainly cultivate wet rice, so the rice growing areas are usually low-lying and humid all year round, which is an ideal condition for raising eels in the fields. Of course, farmers will not release eels directly into the rice fields, but they use nets are used to enclose areas and release eel fry for spawning. In this way, eels can live in the natural environment and combine with modern breeding methods to create high-quality eel breeds. As you can see, eels are released directly into rice fields, hiding in the fertile mud layers, which is an ideal habitat for eels, helping them reproduce quickly. Farmers provide feed so they can grow faster. The semi-artificial eel seed production model brings many advantages and benefits, helping farmers proactively source quality seeds, healthy artificial seeds, uniform size, less disease, meeting the quality requirements and partly the quantity according to the needs of farmers. This model is bringing high economic efficiency to people, especially for small-scale producers. After eels have spawned, farmers will continue to care for the eels for a while until they reach a certain size. They will be sold to eel farms or released into concentrated farming areas. They are still raised and fattened in a semi-artificial way. The farming area is still surrounded by canvas or nets. The farming environment is similar to that in nature, including mud and some plants such as water hyacinth as shelter for the eels. Eels raised in a semi-artificial environment are also fed daily with small fish or earthworms. Industrial food for eels can also be used to ensure nutrition for their growth. Farmers usually feed eels twice a day, with just enough food to avoid overfeeding, which can lead to excess food polluting the farming area. Freshwater eels are often active at night, so farmers often provide food at night to increase farming efficiency. Eel care such as disease and bacteria prevention is also focused on to ensure they grow well. Eels raised in semi-artificial models can be harvested after 6 to 8 months, when they reach a size of about 150-200 g eel. Farmers will remove vegetation in the eel farming area and drain the water to harvest the eels. With no shelter left, thousands of eels can be seen working under the thin layer of mud. Farmers harvest each eel and place them in plastic baskets that can drain well. Once each basket is full, they use a hose to clean the mud and then pour the eels into a holding tank before being sold to traders for transportation to consumption and processing areas. At the factories, tons of eels are processed every day through stages such as head removal, viscera removal, and cleaning. The eels are then cut into portions and packaged by weight, after which they are flash frozen to extend shelf life and make transportation easier. Eel is considered one of the delicacies in Southeast Asia. They are processed into different dishes depending on the region and the taste of the local people. Eel meat is classified as a food that provides many nutrients that are beneficial to health. They contain a lot of protein, vitamins, and minerals that are beneficial to human health. In particular, eel dishes are also used in cases of physical weakness to improve health. We have just watched the semi-artificial eel farming model. How do you feel about today's video? Please leave your comments in the comments section so we know. Australia has one of the largest free-range goat populations in the world, with an estimated 4 to 6 million goats. They are found mainly in semi-arid and desert regions such as Western New South Wales, South Australia, Queensland and Western Australia. Managing such a large population of free-ranging cattle is no easy task, and neither are Australian farmers. They use a variety of methods to manage their millions of goats. Let's explore how Australian farmers manage their goat herds. How do Australian farmers manage millions of free-range goats? If you ever get the chance to visit the arid interior of Central and Western Australia, you will not only see sheep and cattle grazing, but also thousands of free-range goats roaming the natural grasslands and arid hills. What is surprising to many is that these goats are not kept in pens or herded individually, they belong to huge natural farms. As you can imagine, keeping track of a herd of thousands of goats roaming the desert or grasslands is not easy. So what do Australian farmers do to control them? Although free-range goats are free-range, commercial farmers have adopted the most modern management practices. Each free-range goat is fitted with a magnetic ear tag that contains an individual identification number, a farm code, or a tag color that can change from year to year for easy identification. Tagging helps track the health, vaccination and reproductive status of individual goats. It also helps manage pedigrees and traceability when exporting. This is important for farmers and businesses involved in the goat meat export industry. On large-scale farms or in research, some of the leader goats will be fitted with GPS devices or motion sensors to track the movement of the entire herd. Through satellite signals, farmers can know where the goats are and whether they have moved beyond the farm boundary. Through this, farmers can also monitor and promptly detect goats when they are lost or have problems. They can also grasp the feeding habits and regular gathering places of goats. Although goats are highly independent, farmers can gather them into herds of 50 to 300 goats. Portable or fixed fences, usually more than 1.2 m high, can be used to prevent them from jumping over them. Many farmers use goat dogs to keep their flocks from straying. These dogs are also highly trained like sheepdogs. Some farms use drones to monitor their goats from a distance, especially during the dry season or in difficult terrain. Can be combined with AI to count numbers, check behavior, and detect wild animals or predators such as wild dogs or foxes. One of the big problems with free-range goats is not letting them destroy the ecosystem. Goats will eat almost anything, including rare shrubs. So farmers use rotational grazing, which means dividing the pasture into several areas and rotating the goats between them to give the vegetation time to recover. Goat farming is very important in Australia. In arid areas where crops or cattle cannot be grown, goats become a savior due to their high survival rate and low maintenance. With low investment costs, farmers can exploit the available natural resources profitably. When it's time to harvest, farmers use ATVs or helicopters to herd the goats to temporary holding areas. This is a job that requires a lot of experience and coordination, because wild goats are extremely agile and can run for kilometers if not controlled well. Once the herd is successfully gathered, the goats are health checked, sorted, and transported to slaughterhouses or exported live abroad, especially to the Middle East and Asia. In Australia, goat meat processing plants are an important part of the agricultural value chain, especially since the country is the world's largest exporter of goat meat. Many large goat processing plants are often located close to production areas to reduce transportation costs. Examples include Thomas Foods International and Samex Australia Meat Company. In the factory, modern, automated lines are used to increase production. The skin removal line is done gently, keeping it intact for sale exclusively to the leather industry. The meat is divided into parts such as thighs, shoulders, ribs, etc. The meat is quickly cooled within 1 to 2 hours after slaughter. Then they are taken to the vacuum packaging area or frozen according to customer requirements. Each package is clearly labeled with information about the place of production, date of slaughter, The wild goat farming industry in Australia is now worth hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Australia is one of the world's largest exporters of goat meat, with strong markets including the United States, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. In addition to meat, goat skin is also used in the footwear and handbag industry. Free-range goats are mainly exported to the Middle East, Malaysia, and the USA. Australia exports over 20,000 tons of goat meat each year, providing jobs for thousands of people in rural areas.
Have you ever wondered what Australian racehorse farms do with their culled horses? These farms have a very strict culling policy for horses that are no longer able to compete. While many farms report that they will care for old and sick horses until they die, many farms sell them to slaughterhouses to dispose of these culled pigs. So what kind of horses are culled? Let's find out now. Horse farm in Australia. Harsh culling rules. What will farmers do with the discarded horses? Australia has a long tradition of horse racing, and racehorse farms play an important role in the breeding, training, and preparation of thoroughbreds for competition. Australia is also home to some of the world's best racehorses. However, behind every horse farm, there are bright and dark sides that the owners do not want you to know. Because many racehorses are culled each year due to not meeting the demands of racing. It is also considered a harsh culling rule. According to official figures from Racing Australia, less than 1% of retired racehorses are sent to abattoir each year. However, investigations and reports from animal welfare organizations indicate that the actual number may be significantly higher. For example, a 2019 ABC investigation revealed that a Queensland abattoir killed around 300 racehorses over a 22-day period, suggesting a much larger scale of culling than officially reported. So why are racehorses culled? Join us as we explore Australian horse farms to learn more about how they operate and why horses are culled. The foundation of any successful racehorse farm lies in its breeding program. Australian farms carefully select champion stallions and mares with excellent pedigrees. Many farms breed from top breeds, such as Schnitzel and Fastnet Rock. Unlike other industries, Australian thoroughbred breeding adheres to strict natural mating rules to maintain the integrity of the bloodline. Racehorses are fed a strict diet to support muscle growth, endurance, and recovery. The food includes hay, premium grains. The horses are grazed on fresh pastures to relax, forage for food, and improve digestion. The large pastures also help the horses train better for endurance because the natural environment helps stimulate the instincts of these racehorses. After care and training, the horses are often auctioned or sold to other racehorse farms. After being auctioned, racehorses are sent to professional training facilities where they are trained on the track to increase their endurance. Horses usually start racing when they are 2 or 3 years old, participating in young horse races before aiming for major tournaments. However, Not all racehorses win throughout their careers, and farms have a system of aftercare. There are many horses that are injured and cannot compete during the competition, and old horses that cannot compete will be eliminated. So, have you ever wondered what happens to these racehorses after they can no longer compete? This is a controversial issue because the cost of caring for horses that are no longer healthy enough to compete is relatively high, making many farms reluctant to invest in this fee. Furthermore, if these horses are cared for until they are old and then destroyed, it will cause food waste. Therefore, many farms will sell horses that do not meet the standards in the racing barn to processing plants, to process into meat products, to serve the needs of use. Horses that are too injured to compete, or racehorses that are too old. Although many argue that slaughtering them is cruel, it reduces the waste of horse meat and reduces the burden on farms. In horse meat processing plants in Australia, each horse is treated humanely before being slaughtered to reduce suffering. Similar to other livestock, horses are hung on automatic conveyor belts. After slaughter, workers will remove the skin and organs. The horse meat is filtered and cut into different parts for packaging and consumption. In many countries in Europe and many states in the US, eating horse meat is considered cruel. However, in Australia, you can find horse meat sold in many food stores. It is estimated that thousands of racehorses are slaughtered in Australia every year. According to the Racehorse Protection Alliance, there are approximately 30 horse abattoirs operating in Australia, slaughtering horses for pet food and 2 processing horse meat for human consumption. This suggests that the number of racehorses culled each year could be in the thousands. And consuming horse meat also helps reduce meat waste